Ladies and gentlemen, we are working our way through One Night in Karazhan. Next up is a heroic super guide for Julianne. Now, Julianne is on the easier side than your typical heroic boss. You can get busted down pretty quickly by her having a constant 4-2 out. That's a lot of damage to take every turn if you're slow to develop. But if you do stabilize and get minions out, you generally have a good shot of just being able to overwhelm her. There's no huge swings she's capable of. Basically, she can just go wide on the board, have some taunts, and maybe protect her 4-2s and kind of finish you off. But if you can stabilize with some big minions, heal up, you're in really good shape. The obvious thing to do with her is include lots of ways in your deck to deal 2 damage. So you have your AoE sweepers like Primordial Drakes, Azure Drakes in Warlock, Demon Rats, stuff like that. Also, you want to put in any way to make your hero power deal 2 damage. So AAEBAZ in Mage is amazing and one of the best things you can do. AAEBAZ in Warlock is amazing because then you'll be hitting Romulo every turn and healing for 3. To counteract the fact that you took damage early on. Shadow Reaper Anduin or just Shadow Form in Priest. Once you can, with your hero power, have a guaranteed way of always being able to ping off Romulo, it'll make it exponentially easier to just stabilize and have a constant way of using your advantage on board over time. That said, let's look at the specific decks I used with every class. For Druid, I used the Innovate Astral Communion theme, as I have been known to do. For heroic bosses, nowadays you'd replace Innovates with Wild Growths. You have Nourishes to draw more. Justicar Trueheart is great because it lets your hero power. Yes, you need to take the damage, but you can have a consistent way to get rid of Romulo if you have the life to spare. And one of the things that can help you give you that life to spare is a Tree of Life, which can heal you back up to full if you've gotten low. That can be, excuse me, game winning. Other than that, we flood the deck with the usual things you would expect in terms of high-end creatures. Foe Reaper is great to clear out multiple things at once. The AI does not play around it intelligently. Usually you'll be able to hit something small to kill some big stuff. Some big taunts like Giant Mastodon, Aviana, and Kun the Forgotten King to be able to flood the board with tons of creatures and just be practically insurmountable. Things like Tarantus. Ultimate Infestation is a great follow-up to Astral Communion if you get it, because then you refill your hand with a lot of cards. Kill the Romulo and have a 5-5 on board. Everything you want out of a good turn. We have the Primordial Drakes as the sweepers, which will often kill Romulo, and obviously very useful when Julianne does choose to go wide with, Murloc, Bilefin Tidehunters, I think it's called, and so on. And Yasharaj is the last card to make the cut, because if you get that out straight after Astral Communioning, you get tons of minions out and really get ahead quick. Hunter starts using a more standard formula, which, as I said at the beginning, lots of ways to deal 2 damage. So a lot of these decks you'll put in Explosive Sheeps, Abominations, Primordial Drakes, and a Baron Geddon. Baron Geddon obviously nice in that as long as it lives, it's automatically clearing off the Romulo every single turn. Black Knight is great because she does play Sunwalkers, and it can really help in clearing out that sort of thing, and a few other taunt minions. Exploding Bloatbat's a nice hunter card to be able to deal 2 damage only to enemies. Power Shot can help get the job done as well. Explosive Shots for obvious reasons. Deathstalker Rexar for obvious reasons. And beyond that, just your usual power cards in Hunter, like Call of the Wilds, Savannah Highmanes, 1 Piranha Launcher because it gives you a weapon that can be taking out Romulo as you need it, while also summoning some minions. Unleashes to help deal with the wide boards. Mad Scientist to cheat out the explosive traps. Dispatch Coda, also a nice way to just get a minion out while dealing with the threat on board of Romulo. Mage is one of the best classes to take her on with, in my opinion, and largely because if you can Justicar Trueheart and have your hero power automatically dealing 2 to just 2 Romulo every turn, you're in really stable shape. That said, this particular version was what I used at the time, so it's a bit weaker than most of the other decks you're seeing, which have a lot more modern tools, no primordial drakes yet, etc. But yeah, you have Doomsayers are what you're hoping to land early. If she hasn't gotten too much stuff out in addition to Romulo, you might be able to get this down on turn 2 and have it live, or at least suck up 7 damage so to help you stay alive. Mad Scientists help you cheat out your counterspell, and your ice barriers to buy you more life. And then it's mostly a tempo mage. You're looking to get out Mana Worm, Sorcerer Apprentices, cheap spells like Arcane Blast and Arcane Missiles to help remove Romulo. Frost Bolts, Arcane Intellects to draw. Flame Wakers can combo with these to do even more. Frost Nova can just freeze the board and let you keep going face or pushing damage and getting on top. Twilight Summon is a nice way to get some extra power on board over time. Blizzard, yet another freeze effect. And Yogg-Saron, if you do completely lose track of things but played lots of spells, a potential save you mechanic, you know, the old Hail Mary. Paladin has some good defensive tools in the form of Spikeridge Steeds to put up some nice walls, Uther of the Ebon Blade to be able to be doing damage and healing for quite a lot, and getting out with your hero power minions that directly challenge the constant Romulo that's coming. Ragnar's Light Lord heals you up. Tyrion's obviously a nice big taunt minion that gets you a lot of value for your card as well. So obviously ways to deal 2 damage, the Drakes again, the Baron Geddon, the Avenging Wrath is nice, the Abominations, and then and Explosive Sheeps. And then you have a lot of ways of generating dudes between Muster for Battle, Stands Against Darkness. She doesn't have a lot in the form of AoE, so you can just flood the board with lots of things. You know, any 2 of those can take out the Romulo as well, and you can do a lot of buffing with Quartermasters, with Warhorse Trainer. Surprised I'm not actually running, what's his name, 3/7 guy who turns everyone into 3s. I'm blanking for some reason. Sunkeeper Tarim, but he'd obviously be a good addition as well. Corpse Taker is nice because you have Divine Shield and Wind Fury, Divine Shield in there, so you can get that out to just buy you some additional healing, as does Wicca, Flame, Burn Bristle, etc. Lots of tools to deal 2 damage, lots of tools to challenge his Justicar Trueheart by just getting tons of dudes out, and lots of tools for healing up, buffing your dudes, and dealing with threats. Priest has multiple ways to turn your hero power into what you need. We have 2 shadow forms, Shadow Reaper Anduin. Once you get Shadow Reaper Anduin out, you're just golden. You can keep pinging off the Justicar, the Romulo, and still on top of that be able to do extra pings as you play cards over the course of the turn. We have the typical AoE tools. Foe Reaper's a nice one again, Primordial Drakes, Holy Novas, Baron Geddon, etc. Black Knights make it in again. Arcanized Soul Priest again give you a way to temporarily turn your hero power into just dealing 2 damage. Powered Shields to draw you 2 or more powerful things. We include the 2 Greater Healing Potions because once you've changed your hero power, you won't be able to heal up. So we do want to give you some way to heal back up if you took a lot of damage early. Paletrist can obviously get out of hand. The other funny thing is Saboteuring. Can force her to use a whole turn just to create the 4/2, or not be able to do it a turn. That can definitely help you stabilize. For Rogue, I basically just used the base of a modern Miracle Rogue deck from a while ago. It's not modern anymore, but you know, you have your ways to just draw a bunch of cards with gadgets on. We've added in some abilities to do AoE damage, like Betrayals, Darkhind Skulkers, Abominations. Jade Shurikens are nice because they combo and still help you form your Jade Golems to build up. We have the Questing Adventurers, which you're looking to build up once this starts getting out of hand. She doesn't have a lot of direct removal, so if you can keep getting favorable trades while just getting this bigger and bigger, eventually you'll be able to counter swing for a lot of damage. your main early thing you're looking to do to prevent yourself getting overrun completely is land a Doomsayer and hopefully have it clear the board before you do something like get out a questing adventure or whatnot. SI7 agents, again, you can combo to do the 2 damage that you're repeatedly looking to do to Romulo. Shaman is your typical hodgepodge. You have your AoEs in the form of Doomsayers, Explosive Sheeps. Avalanche is actually a nice one to kind of clear two things out while freezing something else. Abominations, etc. Hexes for anything big like a Sunwalker that's hard to deal with. Volcano is a nice board clear. You have your Lightning Storms. You have a bunch of healing with Healing Waves that nowadays you'd probably replace with Healing Rains. You have some Jades forming between your Jade Claws, your Aya, your single copy of Jade Chieftain, which also lets you get out a Taunt to slow things down. Alakir can clear out Romulo and do damage. Kalamos can be very useful for doing a nice board sweep or finishing off the hero, or just healing for a lot if you did take a lot of damage. And of course you have the Primordial Drakes again. You do have activators for the Kalamos between your fire elementals, acting as elementals you can put in there, Baron Geddon as well, and Alakir actually. So more expensive ones, usually when I look for an activator it's something cheap like Firefly, but you're going to be wanting to play this on your late turns where often, you know, fire elementals just clear out the Romulo and get a big minion out, so you will be looking to do these often in the turns leading up to your Alakir anyway. Warlock is a high-risk, high-reward deck. You have a lot of ways of dealing with things. Corrupting Mists replace Doomsayers as a way to just get out something that's more guaranteed to go off, especially on Romulo, because Doomsayer can get killed pretty easily. Explosive Sheeps, putting in Nerubian Eggs, because with all the AoE you're doing between Explosive Sheeps and Primordial Drakes and Abyssal Enforcers, it's nice to have a 4/4 just pop out of that as well to give you even more board control as you run Hellfires as well. Implosion is guaranteed to kill Romulo and summon a bunch of 1/1s, which can help kill it on the coming turns. Shadow Flames, Abominations. Bane of Doom's really nice to kill Romulo and summon a demon in one card. Sometimes you'll get lucky and have that be a nice big demon, like Jaraxxus or Melganis or something. You have a little bit of life gain with Siphon Soul, but if you do take a lot of damage early on and from your ongoing hero power, your main ways to heal up are Jaraxxus, Melganis can protect you, and Bloodreaver Gul'dan is game winning. Once you have that out, you're picking off Romulo every turn and gaining 3 life. You should be able to win pretty easily from there. For Warrior, I ran a Grim Patron deck that goes well with all your ways to do a bit of AoE damage, like Abominations and whatnot, and we also run a lot of ways to just deal 1 damage, like Deathspite, Death Rattles, Ravaging Ghouls, etc. She does play a lot of, you know, Balfin Tidehunters, Mirror Images, things where those little bits of 1 damage can help. You have Revenges as well. Cleave's nice for taking out Romulo. So that can work well with, you know, getting off something that helps clear her board while having Grim Patrons out. Those can keep getting summoned. She won't play around them very well. Some typical tools we've seen in the upper end of our curve, like Black Knight, Baron Geddon, Foe Reaper, Primordial Drakes, to be able to just keep doing AoE damage in the right amount and hit multiple things at once. The weapon from Scourge Lord Garrosh, amazing for that as well, and gives you a hero power that can activate really well with Grim Patron. Lich King, just a nice way to get some really powerful cards that can help put you over the end. And so Finley Murgleton gives you a potential, once you've armored up quite a bunch, if you're safe on life, it's often nice to actually have a hero power that helps you clear out some pesky 1/1s and things, given you have a lot of ways of doing 1 AoE damage, and she does play, you know, like 1/1 taunts and things, that can be quite handy as well. Last was the challenge of beating her with basic and common cards only. What we have is, you know, from the basic and common card only set, tools to deal some AoE damage, as you'd expect, like Explosive Sheeps, Consecrations, ways to help you heal, while also being able to deal with that early 2 health Romulo, Mistress of Mixture, Zombie Chows, things which just give you several minions, like Horned Creepers and your Stand Against Darknesses, so you have tools to be able to run into her Romulo. Warhorse Trainers to buff them, Tar Creeper, a nice defensive tool that can take a hit from Romulo, kill it off, and still survive. Hydrologist can get you Noble Sex, which can be big one-hit kills, well, one-mana kills essentially on Romulo. And eventually you're looking with value cards like Piloted Shredder and your Bone Mare on something that sticks to get ahead on board. And then you have your big finishers in the form of Force Tank Maxes and Ultra Swords to do that. Once you finally do stabilize and are sort of can control the board, get some big things out to be able to actually counter punch and hit her to finish it off, as you can see we did in the screenshots. Good luck out there if you're still working through One Night in Karazhan for that heroic card back. Like I said, Julianne is on the easier side as far as heroic bosses go. But these are all the decks I used with every class, and even basic and common cards only to beat her if you're looking for a super budget deck. Good luck, see you next time.